Thanks for joining us on To The Point. I'm Becca Habiger in for Alex. Right now, a youth pastor is fielding a death threat and hateful comments after a national group turned its attention to Placer County. Parents in the Roseville Joint Union High School District received an email from district leaders alerting them to a video and article by Project Veritas, which some consider to be an undercover journalism organization, but critics call it a far-right activist group. So in tonight's main point, we want to add some context to the controversy, and we've reached out to all the parties involved.
Pastor Casey Tinnen leads Loomis Basin Congregational United Church of Christ and founded The Landing Spot, a non-religious support group for LGBTQIA plus youth and their parents in Placer County. In this story, you'll also hear the umbrella term queer, a word which for years was used offensively but has since been reclaimed by the LGBTQIA plus community.
You know, for a lot of our kids, the Landing Spot is the only place where they feel comfortable. It's difficult to be a queer teenager.
This is a parent whose teen attends the Landing Spot and a Roseville Joint Union High School District school. She asked us not to use her name out of fear of retaliation. That's because the Landing Spot and Pastor Tinnen are the subject of a hit piece by Project Veritas released on Sunday. It's entitled "California Reverend Says It Is Critical to Discuss Sexual Identity and Gender with Children at a Young Age. Admits parents would be upset if they knew their queer kid was coming to me. I and the older queer folks are mentoring these young adults."
When they know that their queer kid is coming to me for support, they're going to be upset. It's when you are purposely misgendering them, when you are purposely not using their name.
How do you handle that?
I call CPS.
Supporters of the Landing Spot say Pastor Tinnen was recorded without his knowledge or permission, and his words were taken out of context. They say he was led to believe he was speaking with parents of trans kids who were seeking his advice. Now, as a result of this Project Veritas piece, he has received a death threat and hateful comments. We reached out to Sacramento attorney Mark Reichel, who was not connected with this situation, to ask if how Project Veritas went about getting this video was legal. He says no. California Penal Code 632 makes it clear, he says, if a person has a reasonable expectation that a conversation will be private and not recorded, even in a public place like a restaurant, then it is illegal. We asked Project Veritas about this. A spokesperson told us we stand behind our reporting, which was conducted legally. Since the Landing Spot works with teens in the Roseville Joint Union High School District and up until recently had met periodically in the schools themselves, the district emailed parents Monday night, citing the Project Veritas video and distancing itself from the Landing Spot. Given statements by Pastor Tinnen in the video, along with other related concerns, district staff contacted the Roseville Police Department and Child Protective Services to advise them of the matter so they can ensure no students have been harmed, the statement said in part. We reached out to the Roseville Police Department, which told us they have received no official criminal complaint from the high school district. There's currently no active investigation related to the referenced parent communication. And Placer County Child Welfare Services and Foster Care Services told us by law, child welfare referrals are confidential and we are unable to confirm or deny whether a particular referral has been received. Supporters of the Landing Spot say they're disappointed in how the district worded its statement.
I find it shocking that they would take a misinformation campaign and elevate it and give it any validity. There has been no investigation. There's been no allegation. There's been no incident that has occurred.
She says the ones hurt most by all this are the queer students.
Landing Spot is not the problem. Landing Spot is a solution for our kids who are already struggling.
And just hours ago, the nearby Placer Union High School District released a statement saying in part that although they have never received any complaints in regard to the Landing Spot being at student club meetings, starting immediately, neither the Landing Spot nor their representatives will be allowed on campuses. You can read the full statement on abc10.com/tothepoint. Well, another storm is causing severe weather in Northern California. Look at this hail out of the Vacaville area. Thunderstorms are rolling through the region, as you probably well know. Now, large hail also fell right here in our own parking lot at ABC 10. We heard a ton of thunder roaring outside around 5 this evening, then a ton of hail. It certainly caught the attention of the entire newsroom. And the relentless storms in the Tahoe area have led to this being the second snowiest year since the Sierra Snow Lab began keeping records. The snow is up to 56 feet at Soda Springs. The biggest winter on record was nearly 68 feet, and that was in 1951. Now, Carly, it feels like this rain will never let up. How are things looking?
Well, things are starting to let up. I mean, if you've noticed, in at least just the last month, as we go on week by week, the number of storms have started to slow just a little bit. And as you'll see by the end of this week, we're actually going to see a lot more sunshine. We're just getting through the storms now. Instead of solid rain, we're now seeing a lot more thunderstorms, a lot of more unstable and unstable weather conditions, I should say. But take a look here. This is a tightly wound low pressure system that's bringing in a lot of moisture into the areas of the South San Jose, into the Santa Cruz Mountains. For us, though, the outer edge here has been bringing in a lot of thunderstorms wrapping around the system. We are now seeing at least lightning strikes slowing down around Modesto and even further north around Sacramento. No more lightning strikes currently, but we're seeing just a few left over further north near Williams and along I-5 there toward Clear Lake, also seeing just a few more of those thunderstorms. Now, the severe weather outlook showing those thunderstorms at least through Tuesday. A huge wide area here from Chico all the way through Central Valley being seen. In the Big Mountain backyard, at least the winds are slowing a little bit. We did see them very strong earlier today. Mid-50s for us to low 50s in Modesto. A little rain still hanging out there, but we're actually seeing some peaks of sunshine now, which also causes unstable weather conditions. And looking at the wind gusts, about 49-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Stockton, 62 in San Francisco. Moving on through your Wednesday, things will start to slow down. A little bit of a pickup on Thursday, but otherwise, we're going to start seeing the system moving out. We'll still see some rain on your Wednesday, but it'll start tapering off as we start getting into the mid-morning lunchtime hour with more sunshine on the way. We'll talk more about that coming up.
Thanks a lot, Carly. And people in the Lathrop area just south of Stockton are getting out of Dodge as their homes flood. Neighbors at the Haven Acres Mobile Home Park say they suffered flooding damage like this back in 2017. Most of them are following evacuation orders, but some have decided to stay put, even though their cars and belongings are underwater. And we know the constant rainfall has wreaked havoc on crops in the Central Valley. Just yesterday, we showed you how acres of farmland in Tulare County are submerged in floodwater. Some farmers there are worried their almond and pistachio trees will be a total loss this season. And here in our neck of the woods, places like Smoky Ridge Ranch in Apple Hill are dealing with their own issues. From flooding to massive fires, photojournalist Vanessa Bizzuto shows us one farmer who's learned the way to prepare before the worst hits.
The farm's been in my family for 100 years, and I'm the 4th generation farmer of my family on it now. We grow 17 varietals of apples. We're one of the only growers of chestnuts up here in Apple Hill, 5 varietals of wine grapes, and then last year we started 70-something varietals of flowers. This year is definitely extreme and cold. It has pushed everything back like at least 5 weeks. But so far it's not detrimental in that like it's ruined any crops yet. It did take out like my greenhouse, so I had to change course, and now I'm getting somebody to start on my seeds for flowers this year because I don't have a greenhouse anymore. So it certainly affects me. It definitely feels like you can't catch a break to some extent, but also that's farming. I think that it's testing the bounds of being versatile in farming and being like diversified in crops. I think that that is going to be the future of farming in California, in that we are going to continue to have these weather events that are extreme. And if we want to continue to farm, we're going to have to be versatile. Farming in general, just very hard. Layer on top of that, being one of the first solo female farmers up here, and it's sort of new to the region. Things are definitely changing with our generation getting into it, and it is already socially feeling much more accepted. I think with like new generations coming in, it's going to continue to get easier and easier for women to like financially be able to farm. It's something very specific to this region that makes me love farming a lot, is that we are direct to consumer markets. So in Apple Hill season time in the fall, I get to open up the barn and meet like thousands of people who come just to have like an adorable farm experience. I don't think I would love it as much if I just like sold to grocery stores or something, you know, like that direct to consumer thing that Apple Hill has going on is a blast. I love that.
The federal government wants to hear your stories about the conservatorship system in California. The details on that after the break. Many people know of conservatorships from Britney Spears, but for 3 years, ABC 10 has been investigating this legal tool that impacts hundreds of thousands of vulnerable people. Now there's a nationwide effort to look at problems with conservatorships. Investigative reporter Andy Judson has the details.
Yeah, since our investigation, the price of care began, hundreds of people continue to reach out to me looking for help because there's stuck in California's broken conservatorship system. Well, now the U.S. Senate is asking to hear directly from you. The Senate has a committee on aging that will hold a hearing Thursday, March 30th on conservatorships and is asking the public to share their problems and experiences with conservatorship. Now, our reporting has uncovered a broken system that's allowing the financial, physical, and even sexual abuse of vulnerable Californians, especially our elderly population. You can listen to some of them now.
It's almost like he was held hostage, like in the 21st century.
I get down there and the facilities say you're not allowed to see her, you can't go in.
Just absolutely inhumane.
I was totally trapped.
Prisoners, people who are incarcerated, get more visitation time than my mother does.
The U.S. Senate is also interested in your suggestions of how to fix this system and your thoughts on alternatives to conserving people. The deadline for anyone to submit their story is this Thursday, March 23rd. For more details on how to share your experience, head over to our website, abc10.com/links.
And you can watch Andy's 5-part investigative series, The Price of Care, taken by the state right now. Just head to abc10.com/price of care. After the break, the first black church on the West Coast was built in Sacramento and is still operating to this day. Now its pastor wants its history known. All right, Carly, what's the latest with the thunderstorms going through our area?
Yeah, we saw a lot of them in the last really 3 hours now, and they've been wrapping around this low pressure system centered right over San Francisco. But it's the outer layers in those bands there that you see that have been bringing those thunderstorms. It's now curling around through Yuba City all the way down between Roseville here and Citrus Heights. And then you can also see it now just east of Stockton, pushing through Modesto. Now that's been bringing a lot of thunderstorms. Things have slowed down. No more lightning strikes as of now, but we're still getting some areas of intense downpour. So get ready for ponding still on the streets this evening if you have plans to head out, especially if you're going to Golden One Center in maybe the next half hour or so. We're still going to look at very strong winds. Further north, these are where thunderstorms were hitting. Things are slowing down as we speak. And we're finally starting to see here things easing up just a bit, but there's still some spots where we're getting early detection rotation. So way up in the atmosphere, we start to get a little bit of movement with the winds because they're so strong at this point in time that maybe a funnel cloud is starting to form in these spots here. You can see it near Rio Vista. Otherwise, it's not a tornado unless it hits the ground, and at that, it would be a weak one right now. Let's take a look here at the max winds we've seen so far. McClellan Airport, 53 miles per hour. Stockton at 51. China Gulch in Amador County, 60 miles per hour. Santa Cruz Mountains, 82. 75. Mount Diablo. Wow, these winds, they have really been kicking up this evening, especially through our afternoon hours. Now, the low pressure, as we mentioned, is circulating just off the coastline. It's really not moving too fast, but it's the outer bands here bringing in those strong winds. You see the breaks between the clouds there, and that's been creating a lot of unstable weather conditions for us this evening, including those thunderstorms, lightning strikes, and even that pea-sized hail we've been seeing. Winter weather advisory is in effect till 5 a.m., so we'll see that until Wednesday morning. 4 to 8 inches expected above 4,000 feet. We could see as much as 1 to 2 feet, though, really at the higher elevations south of Highway 50. Strong wind gusts continuing at the wind advisory. This is in effect till 9 p.m., but we'll continue to see some strong wind gusts here pushing through even through the overnight hours. We're getting to 7 p.m. We'll see about 20-mile-per-hour winds, and then it won't really be until about 8 a.m. we see things slowing down for the Sacramento area north, but everything south, still a little pickup there for Stockton and Modesto. And then finally, Wednesday evening's commute, things start really slowing down, and we're looking much better. Let's take a look at the Futurecast radar as we push through your Wednesday. We're still getting spotted showers throughout the day, but by the evening, things will slow down. We'll get sunshine throughout the rest of your week. And then finally, Sunday, we could start seeing our first signs of that mountain snow and even some of that rain arriving for the valley areas by Tuesday into Wednesday. Finally, as that passes through, it looks like we have a lot more sunshine back in the forecast. So that is some good signs of spring headed our way. Temperatures in those foothills, mid to low 50s, and we'll continue to see those temperatures tomorrow. Low 60s on Thursday, and you'll see some sunshine toward the end of the week and into next week. By Tuesday and Wednesday, it looks like we're getting some more valley rain. Becca.
Thanks, Carly. And make sure you download our free ABC 10 app to keep up with the latest information on weather, conditions, road and school closures. You can also upload your weather photos and videos there so we can see what's happening in your neighborhood. California's first black church and a long list of civil rights laws were created thanks to one man that few people remember. Now a pastor wants his great-great-grandfather written back into California history books. John Bartel tells us the story of Daniel Blue.
You probably wouldn't see it if you drove by it.
It's over there. See, you'll see it. Watch me get around the corner.
Even on foot, it's hard to find.
Right there. Right there. You see the plaque?
Oh my, okay. It's like...
Now, would you ever see that?
But if you take the crosswalk at 7th and G Street in downtown Sacramento.
This is the back of the county courthouse, the parking lot.
Okay.
This is the back of the parking lot.
You'll see the bronze plaque that Pastor Lee Robbins drove all the way up from Southern California to find.
That's it. This is where church started, right here.
The church. The church that Daniel Blue started in 1850. Daniel Blue was Pastor Robinson's great-great-great-grandfather and the founder of the first black church on the Pacific Coast.
For a group of people who did such great work for our state and our community, this is what we have, but it's hidden.
I don't know about you, but their actions give me courage this morning.
About 2 miles from the bronze plaque, an old painted portrait of Daniel Blue proudly hangs on the lobby wall of St. Andrew's African Methodist Episcopal Church.
He was not the preacher. He was just like the chief fundraiser, the chief supporter.
Daniel Blue's original church building is no longer standing, but the church name and the congregants of St. Andrew's are very much like the people who went there more than 170 years ago.
There was about 191 African Americans total in Sacramento County. So there weren't that many of us.
Formerly a slave in Kentucky, Daniel Blue settled in California during the gold rush. He made his fortune mining along the Sacramento River and eventually bought his freedom and bought a house where he held the first church service in his basement.
Evidently the hand of God was on him. He was a loving man and he wanted equity for all people.
Daniel used his wealth to create a space where people of all color could learn and worship without discrimination.
After he started the church in 1850 in his home, he immediately started a school for non-whites, African Americans, Asian Americans, American Indians.
As St. Andrew's congregation grew, the church began anti-slavery and social activism. And Daniel Blue pushed some of the first civil rights legislation through California. Blue even helped free one of the last known slaves in the state.
The first 2 agendas on their docket were the right to vote and the right to testify in court against whites. Up to that point, we did not have a right to vote in California.
Daniel Blue passed away in 1899. His obituary, written in the paper, began like this: Daniel Blue, a colored citizen known to all people of Sacramento.
How did I not know his name? Like I said, why wasn't he in the history books? What happened to this? This is not just black history. This is American history. This is California history. This is Sacramento history. He's a founder.
Daniel now rests in the new Helvetia plot, a section in Sacramento's East Lawn. His body and the bodies of hundreds of forgotten immigrants were exhumed and relocated here in the 1950s so Sutter Middle School could be built on their old graves.
That was amazing to me, and that started a fire in me. I wanted this story to be told.
Les is a regular guest, not a preacher at St. Andrew's, but the story of his great-great-great-grandfather's church led him to a life of ministry and sharing Daniel Blue's story.
He loved God and he loved people. And for me to carry that torch is just an honor. And so I feel I have a new burden. It's a good burden. I'm doing all I can. To help my people, but help people.
From the first black church on the Pacific Coast, I'm John Bartel.
Well, many of you have sent in your crazy weather videos today, Carly.
Yeah.
It's just been insane today.
It's been crazy. We've been seeing the hail come in, lightning strikes. It's been beautiful video, but it's been a little chaotic out there. You can see a line of storms pushing from Modesto north towards Stockton, but east of there, and we have been seeing those lightning strikes. Things are starting to slow down, which is the good news, except the winds will continue through the evening, and we are looking at more of those showers throughout the night, early morning Wednesday. We should catch a break, though. By Wednesday afternoon, evening, you should start seeing some sunshine.
Good news there, Carly. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.